So, bring it back to your experience in working with your clients. Part of your specialty is taking people who were in the corporate world,
Hmm.
empower them to step into their prominence, or taking someone who works with mom and pop shops and allowing them to step into working with multinationals,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that in itself is a business journey, but as well as a spiritual journey as well. So, can
Hmm.
you share with us a little bit how you guide them through that transformation?
Well, a lot of people have more potential than they're able to access. And they very often, when they come to me, they suspect it. They feel like, I think I should be doing like making way more money or working with much bigger clients, or people should know who I am. I should be famous. I will hear that from my clients. I agree with you. You're not hearing that for no reason. One of the spiritual teachers that we follow is Carolyn Mace, and she calls the ego the horses that pull the chariot. So an ego isn't a bad thing. The ego is the thing that's pulling you and saying, hey, you need to be out there. You have bigger, better things to do. And that's not a bad thing. That's your calling. So I will hear people say that. And instead of shaming them, like maybe other people in their lives have done, I will say, I believe you. Let's make it happen. And so then in the process of whatever that is, we're doing it through the medium of business. So it's like, how are we going to do that? Which clients are you going to work with? What are you going to do for them? How are we going to find those clients? And then how do we structure your business? So we do all of those practical things to get them there. And along the way, what happens is they will encounter all the obstacles that prevented them from doing this already. And a lot of times that's going to be fraudulence, right? Yes, there'll be some voice telling them, who do you think you are to do this? What makes you think you're the whatever? So that's a very common thing that comes up that we'll work on. And I'm like, I think you're the person who was put on the earth to do this thing. And I really do believe that. Sometimes I'm able to snap them out of that merely by believing in them. And sometimes we have to do a lot of work on that. But my belief is that we're all sent to the planet to do something. And that if you figure out what that is and you do it, you won't have any competition, because other people, you'll only have competition if they're doing your thing instead of their thing. So just do you at the maximum level, which is what all of us actually just need support in doing, is figuring out who we really are, because we have who we suspect we are. And then there've been all the voices who said, no, you're not all that. And then you need to find other people who are big enough and expanded enough to be able to see you and say, yes, I see that too. One of the metaphors that we've heard used before is like the idea of Gulliver. Gulliver, he was this big giant who landed in the land of Lilliput, and there were all these little people around him, and they could only see so much of him. They couldn't take in the bigness of him. And I think it's really important to experience when you meet somebody else who can actually see you and see the fullness of you. It's an amazing experience. And I think that's when you're choosing a coach or a consultant that you're going to work with, it's very important to find a person who is like, oh yeah, I see that potential. So if somebody comes to me and they say, I have a $2 million or $10 million or $100 million business, I'm going to tell them the truth. And very often I'm like, yeah, I know you do. Let's build it. Because the potential is already there. And as I said, you're not receiving that for no reason. You're not thinking those thoughts for no reason.